Hello students, welcome to the class again. Hope you have prepared notes for yesterday. Yesterday we studied about, in the chapter national income, we studied about goods, classification of goods, definition of national income, normal residence and factor income, and also investment and classification of investments. Today we will start from investments again. Investments, we studied fixed investment and variable investment, which is also known as inventory investment. Today we will study about starting from gross investment and net investment. Gross investment means the total investment, which includes every asset or every stock which is produced or made during the year, and it includes replacement of fixed assets also. Yesterday I told you in economics that depreciation means replacement of fixed assets which are borne out during the year, which are disposed of during the year and replaced by some another asset. Gross investment includes all the assets and all the stocks which are produced during the year. But net investment does not include depreciation. Net investment only includes those new assets which are not the replacement of others, which are almost new. So we can say that net investment is equal to gross investment minus depreciation. And that is the benefit of studying depreciation in the economics. And net investment. Why do we need to calculate net investment? Because net investment is the net addition to the assets during the year. And if we need to know how much production capacity is increased during the year, what is the net increase in assets, then we can calculate net investment. And gross investment will include all the assets, either it is new or either it is replacement of old assets. So that is the significance of net investment, that it shows us the net increase in the quantity of fixed assets or net increase in the production capacity of the economy. Gross investment means total addition made to physical stock of capital during a period of time. It includes depreciation. In other words, we can also say that gross investment is equal to net investment plus depreciation. It is derived from this equation. And net investment is the net addition to fixed assets, net addition to physical stock of capital during a period of time. It excludes depreciation. Okay. Next is another topic of this chapter, that is stock and flow. Important. Stock and flow. These are different concepts in the economy, in the economics, which we use. Stock and flow. Stock variables are those variables whose magnitude is measured at a particular point of time. For example, national wealth, inventory, etc. Stock is calculated at a point of time. For example, our wealth, population and inventory, stock, these are all the examples of stock. These are always calculated at a point of time. For example, how much wealth a businessman has. He will tell you at a point of time. On 1st April 2015, my wealth is such. On 1st April 2016, my wealth is such. In the stock concept, we need to calculate stock at a point of time. We cannot calculate stock for a period of time because it gets on accumulated, it gets on reduced also. वो कम भी होता रहता है और बढ़ता भी रहता है. हम उसको कैलकुलेट सिर्फ एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पर ही कर सकते हैं. वो पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम कोई डेट भी हो सकता है, कोई सेकंड भी हो सकता है, कोई मिनट भी हो सकता है. इसके एग्जांपल है नेशनल इनकम, वेल्थ, स्टॉक, पॉपुलेशन, ये सब, बैंक बैलेंस, ये सब स्टॉक के एग्जांपल हैं, क्योंकि इनको हम एक पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम पर ही कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं. अनदर थिंग इज flow. Flow is calculated for a period of time. For example, in which words are used per day, per month, per year, per week, during the year, during the month. These all things are called flow. So what are the examples of flow? Examples of flow are national income, investment, depreciation, production, expenditure, income. These are all the things which are flow, because these things are calculated for a particular period of time, that is for a month or for a year or per day, per week. Understand? These are calculated for a period of time. For example, when we discuss about production, what can we say? Production as on first for 15, or we can say production per day, per week, per month. Second one is best method. Production will be calculated per day, per month, for the year. So whenever the word comes per day, per week, per month, then it will be flow. And whenever we calculate for a point of time, then it will be stock. So what is stock? It is calculated at a point of time. And what is flow? Flow is calculated for a particular period of time. It is calculated as on date, and it is calculated per day, per week, etc. Examples of stock are population, wealth, inventory. Inventory is the another name of stock. Bank balance. What are the examples of flow? Examples of flow are production, investment, expenditure, imports, exports. Imports and exports are always flow, because these are not accumulated. These are always calculated fresh for each and every year. We calculate imports for 1 year only, per year. हम कभी उसको accumulate नहीं करते. और stocks are always accumulated. So another point is that stock and flow are interrelated to each other. Stock is made out of flows, and flows are made out of stocks. For example, bank balance is a stock. But how that bank balance is created? Bank balance is created by the deposits. We deposit per day, per month, per week, and from it the bank balance is created. So bank balance is stock, but the deposits are flows, and bank balance is created out of the deposits. So we can say that stocks are created because of flows. And another thing is that flows are also created from stocks. अगर स्टॉक नहीं हो तो फ्लो भी नहीं हो सकते. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सेम एग्जाम्पल, वी हैव बैंक बैलेंस स्टॉक, बट द ड्रॉइंग्स फ्रॉम बैंक इज ए फ्लो. When we withdraw money from bank, then it is flow. So we can also say that flows are also made out of stock. So you understand the difference between stock and flow. Now the next point is circular flow of income, which we studied yesterday also. I told you triple identity concept, that is also known as circular flow of income. In an economy, whatever production is done, it gets converted into income, and income gets converted into expenditure, and due to expenditure again there it gives rise to production. This is known as circular flow of income. There are three phases I told you. First phase is production. प्रोडक्शन से इनकम जनरेट होगी और इनकम से एक्सपेंडिचर होगा और एक्सपेंडिचर से वापस प्रोडक्शन होगा. दिस इज नॉन एज सर्कुलर फ्लो ऑफ इनकम. It refers to continuous flow of goods and services and money income among different sectors in the economy. It is circular in nature. It has neither any end and nor any beginning point. It helps to know the functioning of the economy. If there is no circular flow, then there will be no economy at all, because circular flow of income carries on continuously, and that's why economy stands, and that is the reason of the economy and also the reason of economics. It starts with, we cannot say it is the start, these are all interdependent. So whatever is produced is get converted into income. So whatever the producer produces, it will sell to the consumer. So producer will transfer goods and services to consumer, and consumer will give the factor income to the producer. So it gets converted into income, and income converts into expenditure. Whatever income is generated by the people of the country, they will spend it for their expenditure, for their consumption or investment. So income will convert into expenditure, and expenditure, due to expenditure production is possible. If there is no expenditure, there will be no production. If people are not spending, people do not want to spend their money, then who will produce? Producers produce because people have money, they spend it. Out of this circular flow, there are some leakages and injections. Leakages means some part if withdrawn from this, उसका नाम है savings. Out of income, if people save some part, then it will be the leakage from circular flow, and this leakage can again be injected into the economy by the way of investments. So whatever income was earned, people save some part out of it, then it will be leakage from the flow, and if they again inject into the circular flow, then it will be known as investment. So this is the leakage, and this is the injections. Leakage is the amount of money which is withdrawn from circular flow of income. For example, taxes, savings, etc. It reduces aggregate demand and the level of income. Then injection. It is the amount of money which is added to the circular flow of income. That is, for example, government expenditure, because वो भी अलग से आता है. Government expenditure इस income में से गवर्नमेंट टैक्स कलेक्ट करती है और उसको वापस एक्सपेंस कर देती है, तो वापस सर्कुलर फ्लो में आ जाता है. एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट, जो लोगों ने सेविंग करी उसको वापस अगर इन्वेस्ट कर दें तो वो वापस इंजेक्ट हो जाएगा इकोनॉमी के अंदर, एंड इट इंक्रीजेस द एग्रीगेट डिमांड एंड द लेवल ऑफ इनकम. व्हाट इज एग्रीगेट डिमांड? एग्रीगेट डिमांड मीन्स द टोटल एक्सपेंडिचर ऑन गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस्ड ड्यूरिंग द अकाउंटिंग ईयर इन एन इकोनॉमी. सारे कंट्री के पीपल मिलकर जो डिमांड कर रहे हैं, दैट इज नॉन एज एग्रीगेट डिमांड. नेक्स्ट टॉपिक कम्स इज आवर इकोनॉमिक टेरिटरी. व्हाट इज आवर इकोनॉमिक टेरिटरी? इकोनॉमिक टेरिटरी मीन्स द ज्योग्राफिकल एरिया और द waters where we have our economy, where we can generate our economy where we can do economical activities. It includes all of our political areas and all the water boundaries where we can do business. For example, some part of Indian Ocean is with India, some part is with some another country. So wherever we have opportunity to do business, where we can go is our geographical boundaries. Then this is known as our economic territory. So whole of our land and water up to which we can do business, and also some other things come into the economic territory. So economic territory is the geographical territory administered by a government within which persons, goods and capital circulate freely. What is economic territory? It is the geographical territory where our government and our persons, goods and capital circulate freely, where we can go freely, where we can do business freely. Next comes scope of economic territory. Why we are studying economic territory? Because with the help of economic territory we can find out what is our domestic income, because whatever income is generated in our economic territory is known as our domestic income, which we know by other name, that is GDP. You all know GDP, हम लोग सुनते रहते हैं कंट्री की GDP इतनी हो गई, बढ़ गई, तो वो जो GDP होती है वो हमारी कंट्री की इकोनॉमिक टेरिटरी में जनरेटेड सारी इनकम को बोलते हैं. द गुड्स एंड सर्विसेज प्रोड्यूस्ड विद इन द domestic territory of a country. Economic territory is also known as domestic territory. So what things are included in our economic territory? These include our first political frontiers, including territorial waters and airspace. Political frontiers means all of our boundaries, all of our geographical boundaries, and also territorial waters. What I said, that the part of sea where we can do business, which is under the administration of India, and also airspace. Airspace means all of our air vehicles, all of our aeroplanes which we run, which are administered by our government or our country. These will also come into our domestic territory. Second, all the embassies, consulates, military bases, etc. located abroad. So domestic territory also includes the places out of India where we have power to go, where we have our ownership. All the embassies are the offices which represent a country into the another country. I think you have heard the ambassadors of India and Indian embassy and Pakistan embassy, Russian embassy. So embassy is the office of our country in the another country, we can simply say that. And consulates are also the same. Military bases, our military if in the another part of the world will also be our domestic territory. C point is ships and aircrafts operated by the residents between two or more countries. Whatever ships and aircrafts of Indian ownership operating anywhere in the world will be our domestic territory. And D point is that fishing vessels, oil and natural gas rigs operated by residents in the international waters. Indian fishing vessels operating anywhere, Indian ONGC plants or any factory plant if operating in territorial waters, international waters, it will also come under our domestic territory. So hope you have understand, our domestic territory is the place where we can go easily, where we can do business easily. That is the simple definition of domestic territory. Why we are studying domestic territory? Because the income generated under domestic territory comes under our GDP, not in national income. I am not saying national income now. That is GDP, domestic income. The income earned in our domestic territory is our domestic income. And what is national income? I told you yesterday. National income is the factor income earned by our residents, in spite of fact that wherever they are standing, they may be earning in India, they may be earning from outside. All of their earnings will come under national income. There is difference between domestic income and national income, which I will tell you later. Now I am going to the next point, normal residence. The clue of normal residence I gave you yesterday also, because what was the definition of national income? National income is the factor income earned by the normal residents of a country during the accounting year. So now you have understood what is factor income. I told you yesterday, which is earned by sacrificing something, which is not free income. Factor income includes rent, wages, profit and interest. Now I am going to normal residents of a country. Normal resident is a person or an institution who normally resides in a country and whose center of economic interest lies in that country. So what is normal resident? Who normally resides in a country. I gave you the definition. Every person who is living in our country for more than 1 year will be treated as the normal resident of our country. That is the simple definition. And it means his center of economic interest lies in our country, so he will be treated as normal resident of a country. I am again telling you, normal resident does not mean citizen. Citizen may be different from normal resident. Almost all citizens who live in India are our normal residents, but there are many citizens who are living outside and not living in India for more than 1 year. Then they will not be our resident. Okay, and if some foreign national is living in India for more than 1 year, doing business here or doing any occupation here, then he will be treated as normal resident of our country. That is the reason. There are some exceptions to the normal residence. That 1 year rule will not apply on some people, that are diplomats and officials of foreign embassy. As I said, the embassies are the territories of their own countries. So the ambassadors or the diplomats or officials of foreign country who are living in our country for their political reasons, for representing their country, then they will not be treated as our resident. They will be the resident of their own country. For us, they will be non-resident. So this is the exception. Second exception is commercial travelers, tourists and students. Commercial travelers are the businessmen who come to the different parts of the world for their business, but their economic interest lies in their home country. So commercial traveler will also not be our normal resident. If he is the citizen of another country, then he will remain normal resident of that country also, because his work is to wander here and there, but he will not be resident because it comes under exceptions. Tourist work is also to go and to enjoy and to entertain in other countries, and then go to their own places and carry on the diseases also to other countries. So they also do not come under the word normal resident. And students also, students who go to another country for studying, either for 1 year or 2 year or 4 year, they also will not be normal resident of another country. They will be the resident of the country to which they belong to. I hope you understand. These are the exceptions to normal residents. Even if they are residing in another country for more than 1 year, they will not be treated as their resident. Third exception is people working in international organizations like WHO, IMF, UNESCO, etc. are treated as normal residents of the country to which they belong. These people also remain residents of their own country only. So we have understood the domestic territory and also the normal residence. Now I am writing some formulas on the board. You have to remember these formulas. This will be helpful for your numerical questions. This we have studied. Net is equal to gross minus depreciation, and gross is equal to net plus depreciation. Another formula is related to market price. Market price is equal to factor cost plus net indirect taxes. Factor cost is equal to factor income or factor payment. So market price includes cost as well as indirect taxes collected by the government. Cost is the same as I told you. Factor income and factor cost are same. Wages, interest, rent and profit. It includes the cost of manufacturing, and if we include the net indirect taxes into it, then it will become market price. Net indirect taxes means indirect tax minus subsidy. This is not income tax, this is indirect tax. Indirect tax is the tax which is collected on production by the government. Another formula is made from this. Factor cost is equal to market price minus net indirect tax. These are same, it is derived from this. And another formula is related to domestic and national concept. Domestic is equal to national minus net factor income from abroad, and national is equal to domestic plus net factor income from abroad. Domestic means the income which is generated in our domestic territory, and national means income which is earned by our normal residents from anywhere. So if we subtract net factor income from abroad from it, it will become domestic, and if we add net factor income from abroad into domestic income, then it will become national. You have to memorize all these formulas. These are helpful in our further numerical questions, and this point needs more elaboration. This will continue in our next class, so you have to remember it and make notes. Okay, goodbye, have a good day.